Have you ever felt like you've messed up so badly that there's no going back? Like you've wandered so far from home, you're not sure you can even find the way back, let alone be welcomed? If so, today's story is for you. It's a story that has echoed through centuries, a tale of rebellion, ruin, and redemption. We're re-diving deep into one of the most powerful stories ever told, the parable of the Prodigal Son. This isn't just an ancient tale. It's a mirror reflecting our own struggles, our desires for freedom, and our deepest need for a place to call home. So, grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's explore this incredible story together. It all begins with a wealthy father and his two sons. The younger son, filled with a restless spirit and a craving for independence, approaches his father with a shocking request. He says, "Father, give me the share of the estate that is coming to me." Now, let's pause here for a moment and understand the gravity of this. In that culture, asking for your inheritance while your father is still alive was the ultimate insult. It was like saying, "Dad, I wish you were already gone. Your wealth is more important to me than you are." Can you imagine the pain that must have pierced the father's heart? This wasn't just a business transaction, it was a deep, personal rejection. Any other father of that time might have disowned him on the spot, driven him out in anger. But this father does something radical. The story says he divided his wealth between his two sons. He let him go. This isn't a sign of weakness. It's an act of profound, gut-wrenching love. It's a love that respects free will, even when it knows that freedom might lead to disaster. So, the younger son cashes in his inheritance, packs his bags, and heads off to a distant country. He's finally free, or so he thinks. He has money in his pockets and no one to tell him what to do. The world is his oyster. He begins to live a life of wild extravagance. The original text uses a word that means to scatter or squander. He's throwing his father's hard-earned money away on parties, fleeting pleasures, and what the story calls reckless living. For a while he must have felt like he was on top of the world, surrounded by friends who laughed at his jokes and enjoyed his generosity. But these were friendships as shallow as his newfound lifestyle. As is often the case, the party couldn't last forever. The son eventually spends his last dime. His fortune is gone. And just as his personal resources dry up, a severe famine strikes the land, the perfect storm. Suddenly, the guy who was the life of the party is broke, hungry, and completely alone. The friends who were so happy to share his wealth are nowhere to be found. Desperate, he finds a job, and it's the most degrading job imaginable for a Jewish man, feeding pigs. These animals were considered unclean, and to be so desperate that you have to work with them was the lowest of the low. The story paints a grim picture. He's so hungry that he longs to eat the very pods he's feeding to the pigs. He has hit rock bottom. He is starving, shamed, and utterly destitute. He has traded his father's loving home for a pig pen. This is the consequence of his choices. He wanted freedom, but he found slavery. He sought fulfillment, but he found emptiness. He left a home of abundance and ended up starving in a foreign field. And it's here, in the mud and the filth surrounded by pigs, that the turning point happens. The Bible says, he came to his senses. It's a powerful phrase. It's that moment of clarity, that gut punch of reality when you finally see your situation for what it is. He realizes the madness of his choices. He thinks, how many of my father's hired servants have more than enough bread? But I am here dying of hunger. The memory of home, of his father's house, floods his mind. It's not just the food he misses. It's the security, the dignity, the love he took for granted. In his desperation, a plan begins to form. He decides, I will get up and go to my father, and I will say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Treat me as one of your hired servants. Notice his humility. The arrogance is gone. He's not demanding anything. He doesn't feel entitled to be called a son anymore. He's willing to come back as a mere servant, just to be near home, just to have a roof over his head and food to eat. He has a rehearsed speech, a confession of his unworthiness. He's not sure how he'll be received, but he knows he can't stay where he is. So, with that glimmer of hope, he gets up and begins the long journey home. Now, the focus of the story shifts back to the father. The narrative tells us something absolutely beautiful. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion. Think about this. The son was a long way off. This means the father wasn't just sitting inside, hoping, he was watching. He was scanning the horizon, day after day, waiting, longing for his son's return. His heart had never left his son, even when his son had left him. And when he sees that familiar figure, ragged and beaten down, what is his reaction? Is it anger? Is it a desire to say, "I told you so"? No, it's compassion, an overwhelming gut-level empathy. Before the son can even get his rehearsed speech out, the father does something shocking. He runs. In that culture, it was undignified for an elderly, respected man to run. He would have had to gather up his robes, exposing his legs. But the father doesn't care about his dignity. He only cares about his son. He runs to him, throws his arms around his neck, and kisses him. This is a scene of pure, unadulterated grace. The son, overwhelmed, starts his speech. "Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son." But the father cuts him off. He doesn't even let him finish the part about being a servant. He's not interested in his son's groveling. He's only interested in restoring him. The father turns to his servants and barks out a series of commands. "Quick! Bring out the best robe and put it on him." The best robe symbolized honor and sonship. It covered the son's rags and shame. "Put a ring on his finger." The ring was a sign of authority and family identity. It meant he wasn't a servant, he was family. And sandals on his feet. Servants went barefoot. Sons wore sandals. Every one of these actions was a powerful declaration. You are my son, you are home, you are restored. But the father's not done. He says, "Bring the fattened calf and kill it, and let us eat and celebrate." The fattened calf wasn't for an everyday meal. It was reserved for a huge celebration, a special feast. The father declares, "For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found," and the party begins. The sound of music and dancing fills the house. It's a celebration of restoration, of a love that welcomes the unworthy, of a grace that erases the past. But wait, the story isn't over. Remember, there were two sons. The older brother had been out working in the field all day. He was the dutiful, responsible one. He never left. He always did what was right. As he approaches the house, he hears the music and dancing. He calls a servant and asks what's going on. The servant explains, "Your brother has come, and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound." And how does the older brother react? Is he joyful? Happy to have his lost brother home? No, he becomes angry. He refuses to go into the party. He stands outside, stewing in his resentment. His father, the same father who ran to the younger son, now comes out to plead with his older son. The older son's bitterness spills out. He says to his father, "Look, for so many years I have been serving you and I have never disobeyed your command. And yet you have never given me even a young goat so that I might celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours came, who has devoured your wealth with prostitutes, you killed the fattened calf for him." You can hear the pain and self-righteousness in his voice. He sees his relationship with his father as a transaction. I served you, I obeyed you, I earned my keep. He doesn't see himself as a son enjoying his father's love, but as a slave earning his wages. He can't even call the prodigal my brother. He calls him this son of yours. He has so focused on his own record of obedience that he can't rejoice in his brother's return. He's physically at home, but his heart is just as far away as his brother's was in the pig pen. The father's response is gentle and heartbreaking. He says, "Son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours." He's essentially saying, you could have had a party anytime you wanted. Everything I have belongs to you. You don't have to earn my love or my blessings. You already have them because you are my son. Then he makes one last plea, "But we had to celebrate and rejoice, because this brother of yours was dead and has begun to live, and was lost and has been found." The story ends there, with the older brother standing outside the party. We don't know if he went in. We're left to wonder. And that's intentional. Because the story isn't just about the younger son who wandered or the older son who worked. It's about the father. A father whose love is extravagant, whose grace is scandalous, and whose arms are always open. This parable challenges us to ask, which son are we? Are we the younger son, who needs to come to our senses and return home to a love that's waiting for us, no matter how far we've gone? Or are we the older son, living in the house but with a cold heart, full of judgment and self-righteousness, unable to accept the grace that is freely given to others and to ourselves? Both sons were lost. One was lost in a distant land, the other was lost in his own backyard. Both needed to discover the true nature of their father's heart. This story is an invitation. It's an invitation to come home. Whether you're in a pigpen of your own making or standing outside the party, consumed by bitterness, the Father is waiting, watching, ready to run to you and celebrate, because His greatest joy is having His children home. Thank you so much for joining me today to explore this incredible story. If it resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Do not forget to like this video and subscribe for more content that dives deep into stories that shape our lives. Until next time, take care.